And welcome back to the Big Red with Beach United preview edition with Sam Ojeda back once again. Sam, how are you doing after I believe you had a 34-10 Nebraska win last week? Mine was a
Try 42-10.
42 to 10. That's what you had.
It
And
was
I,
bad.
I had 42-24. So we were both um, magnificently off from our predictions last week. But now Nebraska, I'd say that was we could dwell on it, and I did in my previous show with Jim. We kind of broke it down, but it was just I thought one of the worst performances we've seen from a Matt Rule team.
Yeah, and I don't think you can blame necessarily like the overall effort. Like clearly the guys were trying. I just think Rule and his staff just got completely outcoached, just completely.
Yeah. Well, now you look at Northwestern though for Saturday. I mean, they're 5-2, 3-1 in the Big Ten on a 4-game win streak. They can run the football. They can run the football. I mean, nearly 5 yards per carry as a team versus Nebraska's is just under 4.
Yeah, without diving too deep in any sort of prediction, I do not like this game for Nebraska at all. Um, I would have said last week was a trap game. I think this week is just as much. I mean, they're all trap games at this point. Um, just listening to the team talk this week, players, coaches, like I got nothing but discouragement um, heading into this game against a team that I don't care who you play. If you blank someone in Big Ten play, you're a really good defense. And I know it was Purdue, but you still put up 0 points. Like the defense is hot. The offense is starting to click. And like you said, they can really run the ball. They love to run to the outside, which is just a blaring red flag for Nebraska. Rule even said yesterday on the radio show they love to run the outside zone, which I think people have been talking basically about how our big touchdowns, especially the Minnesota one, came on an outside zone play. And so just a lot of red flags heading into this game. And I think Northwestern overall as a whole is not going to need to pass the ball to be successful. And those are just kind of my early thoughts.
Yeah, well, you mentioned that and Northwestern's rushing attack. I'm wondering if we're going to see something like this. We also saw that at Minnesota, where defensive backs are not filling in the second and third levels. Or are we going to see maybe a Michigan State type performance? I mean, Northwestern, they have several backs that are over 200 yards in the season. Here's one of them right here. That's Joseph Hyman, and he's not even the top ball carrier, but he's averaging around 5 yards per carry, 360 yards. And their top guy, Caleb Komalafe.
Yeah, I tried to say it too. I was not
Komalafe,
successful.
4.5 yards per carry, 483. And they have Deshaun Reeder. I believe he's a true freshman. Maybe he's a
Mm-hmm.
redshirt freshman, but he's averaging over 10 yards per carry, 222 yards in the year. So Nebraska's going to have its hands full, and I think Northwestern's a better team at running the football than Minnesota.
Yeah, well, and Minnesota, a very statistically subpar rush offense, and Nebraska looked like they couldn't stop water overflowing like from a bridge. Like it literally was an absolute disaster. And Northwestern presents, 4 times the challenge. They have 4 very capable running backs. Their 4th running back, Cam Porter, their former starting running back, is averaging 7.6 yards per carry on 18 carries. Like he's their 4th best running back. They're all healthy. Like you see 4 guys over 100 yards, like you said, 3 of which over 200 yards. Like, oh, some like there had to have been injuries. Nope, they're all healthy, and they're all solid running backs. I think Northwestern is going to have a really fun time wearing down the Nebraska front 7.
Yeah, I think that they'll definitely be constant punches thrown, and I think they're also going to look on the flip side of the black shirts what they have to defend with Preston Stone. He isn't nothing special. I mean, his or touchdown and interception ratio is 10-7. It's not nothing really to write home about. So, although they're not that great of a throwing team, they do have a stud wide receiver, Griffin Wild, over 500 yards in the season. already has 36 grabs. So I think that Northwestern has some playmakers that can just continue to exploit the black shirts' weakness.
Yeah, I think you're spot on, and I want to touch on the touchdown to interception ratio. I've been talking about this a lot this week, especially specifically yesterday after Rule said he wasn't going to read into that stat because four of the 7 picks came in the first game against Tulane in a new system, new quarterback, new offensive coordinator that had never been a coordinator or even a coach at the FBS level, and so. Rule kind of wrote that off and said, since then he's 10-3, right? He's a 3-1 guy. And so I also don't want to read into that too much. As much as I think Nebraska is going to need turnovers if they want to win this game. But yeah, I mean, he has shown that he's definitely willing to throw the ball. But I don't want to necessarily use the term one-dimensional, but that's kind of where we're getting. I mean, 36 grabs from Griffin Wild, and then the next leading receiver is 11 grabs. 12 grabs or 14 grabs outside of the running back Hyman, who has 15 for 100 yards. But of the receivers, 14 grabs is the next highest. And if Nebraska, one pro, I think for them, the secondary struggled tackling, but the pass coverage has still been very good. It's not like Lindsey went and tore apart Nebraska's secondary last weekend. A lot of that was the result of Nebraska not being able to stop the run game. So if Nebraska can find out a way to lock down Wild, I think they're going to have a good chance to perform well in the pass defense with that. But outside of that, it could be the same conversation of you can't stop the run. Well, then passing for them is going to be easier because you're going to have to be drawing your defensive backs in closer to the line of scrimmage.
I think that Northwestern might look at a lot of them drag routes and quick slants that multiple black shirts were missing on tackles in open space. I think and then you mentioned the outside zone thing as well. There's 2 components right there. You're thinking you don't like them in open space. You don't trust Nebraska's defense to make the tackle there. So I think the key thing for Nebraska's defense is finding a way to turn the ball over. If they throw it, you got to get that pick. You're out from officially not having Malcolm Hartzog for the rest of the year now that he's redshirting and having surgery. So I don't know. Guys like Buford, Guthrie, Donovan Jones really need to take a step in a positive direction defending ball carriers in open space. I know they can do things when the quarterback's dropping back and not allowing a receiver to go downfield and catch a 40-yard pass, but at the same time, you got to be able to tackle these ball carriers on these short routes.
Yeah, I think you're spot on, and I can't really disagree or agree anymore. You really kind of covered all your bases there, and I just think really what it's going to come down to is, can they make an adjustment from last week? I mean, it can they? I mean, we haven't posted it yet, but we do our weekly on 3 intern predictions. And a lot of my take is like, how can you decide Nebraska is going to have a chance in a game if they aren't willing to make adjustments week to week? And they haven't really shown that outside of maybe a little bit of a jump between Michigan and Michigan State.
Well, all right. We'll get to your prediction at the end, but
yeah,
I think it's going to be a Kyle Kunanen show. And I think that the defense will force a turnover too in a pivotal moment. But let's look at what Nebraska is going to be facing on the offensive side. So Northwestern, they actually have a pretty solid pass defense, 16th in the country, pretty similar to Nebraska's. They're just allowing, I believe, let's look at that, 15 yards more through the air per game. So that's something I'm intrigued by, is while Dillon's not even able to have time in the pocket or he holds it too long and receivers aren't getting open, to pair with that, what's the offense going to do?
Yeah, I'm really worried, and this is just beating a dead horse, really. The offensive line. I mean, Michael Kilbane is the guy I'm looking at for Northwestern. He's one of their main edge rushers. He's got 2.5 sacks. He is one of the highest graded defensive players in terms of PFF in the whole entire country. He is, I believe, right around 90 on defensively for the season. He's one of their main guys, so huge sample size. And while this team only got to the quarterback twice last week against Purdue, which has a very suspect offensive line, arguably like Nebraska's, they had 11 hurries. And if we see more of the same, without beating the dead horse and diving into the offensive line too much, if we see more of the same, it's not going to matter what their secondary does. It's not going to matter anything. It's the same thing as Minnesota last week. It's not going to matter what the secondary does if, Raiola is holding onto the ball. The offensive line is letting everyone in. We can't establish a run game, stuff like that. As much as you could argue it all day long, it's really hard to just be like, yeah, this is going to change, because it's not.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree there. I mean, looking at the Northwestern's rushing defense, that actually matches up decently for Nebraska. They're allowing opponents to carry the ball for 4.7 yards per carry, so just under 5. So I think this is a game where I'd say Emmett Johnson over 20 carries for sure, and probably 5+ receptions. Get him the ball as much as you can in open space. They do have 2 defenders that are both racking up a ton of tackles. One of them is a defensive back. Robert Fitzgerald has 60, and then their star linebacker.
Is that Pat Fitzgerald's son?
I believe so.
I believe it, because I was reading a different column from someone else earlier this week, and it was like that Pat Fitzgerald's son still plays on the team, and so I have to imagine that's that connection.
I think Pat was actually there at the game last week.
That's so funny.
I think I saw on. Yeah, well, I guess the whole hazing deal that they did to their peers kind of cost Pat the job, I guess.
For now.
Yeah, for now. Hey, you never know. I bet he winds up at Wisconsin, Iowa, or maybe even Penn State,
UCLA, maybe even.
Yeah, you never know.
Could see it.
But I like Emmett here. The thing is with Dylan, basically Dana said they're going to try to get the ball out of his hands quicker this week, shorter routes, and kind of leads me into what you and I, we were texting about this earlier. Got to get this guy the ball quicker.
Yeah.
Get him more involved. It's your most explosive playmaker. Jim was kind of pissed about it when we were talking about the previous show.
I was thinking about this. I was listening to your previous show, and then I'm listening to us now. It's like we sound so depressed about Nebraska football. Like we're like, the world is going to end. This is terrible. But and my Roulade is running dry. But I wholeheartedly agree with you. I think Ja'Cory Barney, if I am a sports bettor, which I'm not, but if I was, I'd be taking the over on Ja'Cory Barney receptions, targets, yards. I think this is going to be a game where he is going to need to find space. You and I, again, we talked about the drag routes, the jet sweeps, little things, probably jet touch passes, honestly, so Raiola can keep his completion percentage up because he cares about that so much. But like we're going to see stuff like that. And I don't think it's going to be a big Dane Key day where we're throwing the ball deep. I think we've tried that. They've tried that. They tried it last week. It didn't work. We're going to see a lot of that. Maybe a lot of quick outs, 5-yard outs, 5-yard ins, drags, sweeps, just to get Barney the ball. And I want to see more of what Barney did last season when he was in open space. I want to see that Ja'Cory Barney again. That was exciting outside of just the punt return game.
Yeah, no, so when we look at this game as a whole, I have a couple keys to victory, and I'm curious if you have any. I think the first one is Emmett Johnson needs to rush for over 100 yards. I think that's a must.
No brainer.
If Nebraska wants to win this game, you have to be able to run the football. Dylan Raiola and the offensive line as a whole cannot be allowing more than 3 sacks. Gotta get the ball to Ja'Cory Barney on the offensive side, and I think that'll all pair well and give Nebraska enough opportunities to get some points on the board. Defensively, minimize the run. One thing that's interesting is Northwestern as a team has 10 fumbles on the year.
Yep, I did
find a way to get the ball back, make Preston Stone earn it, force him into those interception type throws, make it like Tulane where they got destroyed, and then special teams wise, keep doing what you're doing. In my opinion, I think if Nebraska can do those, I think they come out victorious.
Yeah, and I loved what you said about make Preston Stone earn it. I mean, you look at the two games where Nebraska made a quarterback earn it. It was Aiden Childs and Brennan Sorsby. Those were the two games. They're like, yep, we're going to stop the run and make the quarterback earn it. And in neither game did the quarterback earn it. Because then at that point you are relying on your pass defense, which outside of the tackling has been towards the top of the country. And so I think you're spot on with that. I don't want to go as far as to say Nebraska needs to sell out for the run, but that would almost be my key for the game. I think you're good enough in one-on-one coverage that you almost can sell out for the run. I swear if I see a single play where Nebraska has 3 down linemen on first down, I'm going to lose my mind because that has not worked all season long. Jim made a great point. It worked when you have Nash Hutmacher and Ty Robinson, even Jamari Butler, James Williams when he decided to play good football at Nebraska. Like when you had those guys down there, it worked. I'm sorry, but Elijah Judy and Riley Van Poppel are not Ty Robinson and Nash Hutmacher. And that was something that, we were talking about in the preseason. We knew that wasn't the case. And so this is me hopping on more of an opinion soapbox, but what is John Butler doing thinking that he can run a 3-3-5 successfully when you don't have 300 pounds, 280 to 300 pounds sitting at your nose tackle position? And not to mention Ty Robinson and Nash Hutmacher had that extra killer instinct, as cringy as it may sound, that you're not seeing from the other guys, and our tackling's not good enough to where it can get past the first level.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the 4-3 for the style of, or the athletes Nebraska has on the defensive side of the ball. Run a 4-3, and I means leaving McCullough at the second level. I'm saying 4 D linemen.
Yeah, well, and I think McCullough is smart enough and skilled enough to where he could sit back in more of a true linebacker position. I'd be lying if I said I paid attention to his pass coverage abilities this season, because I really haven't. I just like watching him rush the quarterback and the explosiveness that he does it with. I'm going to say a key to the game is Williams Nowerney. Holy cow. Sorry, I'm tired today.
Yeah, same. It's all good.
Yeah, he needs to have a statement game. He needs to have his I am a 5-star, here I am game. And I think he has been building up to a game like this in a game where Preston Stone struggles against the pass rush. And the offensive line for Northwestern let Purdue through, and that's really saying something. If he can get into the backfield, both as a pass rusher and as a rush defender, a rush lineman, he could have the statement game. And I think that's one of my keys. One of my keys is definitely that he needs to have the statement game. I'd say another key for me is Dylan has more incompletions than sacks. More incompletions than sacks. I know that kind of sounds backward, but last week, are you kidding me? It was a disaster. If he can have more incompletions than sacks, I think you could win the game. I think your 3-sack number is a little bit of a stretch. I would say Nebraska could get away with probably 5.
That's crazy. We're even talking about
that. I mean, Bobby saying that Nebraska can divide their sack totals allowed by 3 is a little crazy after they faced a just above average pass rush.
It depends on the down and distance too. Is it 3rd and 10 and are you getting sacked, or is it 2nd and 3 and you're getting sacked for 10 yards and making it 3rd and 13?
Yeah. I know. And I tried to go back and watch the film and be able to come onto this podcast with an analytical, here's how we can fix this. And I'm just no, you just simply have to block.
You have to block and you have to get the ball out.
I was sitting in front of the TV watching that Minnesota game. And when I saw them bring 2 linemen and sack Dylan Raiola, I about took my computer and threw it on the ground. I was like, what? What is this? I could not imagine what the 80s, 90s Husker fans, they're either rolling in their graves or they are alive and freaking out. I cannot imagine what that would be like, but sorry, soapbox for.
Well, anyway, I picked 23-17 Huskers. Sam, I want to know where you're leaning and if you got us a score.
You're picking Nebraska to win?
I got the Huskers. I think they
Okay.
will find a way and bounce back and improve to 6-2.
Yeah, as much as I'd love to see Nebraska win, until you're showing a willingness to adjust, I don't think you can take Nebraska. I mean, if you beat Minnesota barely, then you probably have an argument. But the fact that they got walloped by Minnesota makes me think that, like, why can't Northwestern do the same thing? Like, I'm not predicting a Northwestern blowout. My prediction's 24-20 Northwestern, and I've got 3 field goals from Cunanan. Like, I think it would not surprise me if if there's a special teams touchdown and 3 field goals, and that's like the chunk of our scoring. Like, that's kind of the way this of Nebraska's scoring, and that's kind of the way this season has gone so far. So 24-20 Northwestern, but Williams-Mary has a big breakout game.
Okay, I definitely can see that. Jim was opposite of you. I believe he had 24-20 Huskers. I do agree. I think Northwestern's actually a better overall team than Minnesota, personally. But at the same time, I think Nebraska bounces back and showcases some of its talents that were highly recruited and that were paid to come to Lincoln. But at the same time, I still think that you aren't going to go out there and stuff the run and keep a clean pocket. So, before we close out the show, Sam, we got to do our weekly pick'em. Indiana, UCLA, big noon.
Yeah, this game's so interesting. I'm gonna try not to dive too deep into it. As much as I'd love to say UCLA covers the 26.5, I just don't think they're going to. I think Indiana is as legit as it sounds, and they could win this game by 40.
I, on the other hand, think Indiana, or I think UCLA makes it around a 10-point ball game. But I'll take the Hoosiers as well. Indiana is just incredible. Their story. But anyway, Ole Miss, Oklahoma. Kiffin versus.
It's tough because Ole Miss coming off a loss, right? Oklahoma has been up and down this season. Obviously, missing Mateer is part of that for that chunk of the season. But I do think Ole Miss is a legit team. I think Lane Kiffin is a legit contender for the Florida job. I'm going to take Ole Miss to win by 10.
Damn, they have Oklahoma right now 5.5 favorite. So you have them by 10 in Norman.
Don't care. Go Rebels.
I'm going Sooners. Boomer Sooner, man. I think Oklahoma's a playoff team. I know they lost to Texas, but still, they're 6-1. I got the Sooners. Next one, while we're in your favorite conference, the SEC, we got Vandy and Mizzou. Vandy's 2.5-point favorite at home. It's a 2:30 kick.
Yeah, give me Vandy. I'm riding the Vandy hype train as long as I can go.
Vandy, Indiana, and the national championship. So.
That would be wild and horrible for TV viewership. ESPN would hate that.
Yeah. Shoot, this is a kind of a tough one to pick, honestly. I'm going to go with Vandy as well.
Yeah, let's go, Bobby. Hop on the Vandy train.
Now, another Big Ten game. Washington, Illinois kind of has my attention. 5-2 teams. It's in Washington. It's an afternoon kick. I got to go Huskies. Home field.
Yeah, I really like Illinois' offense. Altmaier is a very good quarterback. When that offense gets rolling, they're pretty hard to stop. I'll take close game, probably within 10, but I'm going to take Illinois.
And the last pick. Minnesota, Iowa.
Oh my gosh, I knew you were going to pick this game. So the line is 8.5 Iowa. I was looking, I don't remember the exact numbers, but I saw this thing on Twitter X. I don't know if it's real, but it was like PJ Fleck is like 2-5 after games against Nebraska. But like some of them are against like Ohio State or whatever. But who cares about that? Give me Iowa. As much as I can't stand them, I don't want Nebraska to look like one of the worst teams in the Big Ten. So give me the Hawkeyes so that we can beat them when they're potentially ranked come November.
Yeah, I'll take the Hawkeyes as well. Just although Minnesota beat Nebraska, and I still think that it was technically considered an upset. I think that Nebraska's more talented. I still think Iowa is overall a better football team, and I think Iowa's still going to be around that 8-win range when they come to Lincoln. So give me the Hawkeyes.
Bobby, can I throw out another like little small prediction? Does Wisconsin score a point versus Oregon this week?
This would be the third straight game if they don't. 2-5 Wisco. I think they do. I think Dan Lanny's nice in the fourth quarter and tells his D-line clear out to let these poor Badgers into the end zone.
Maybe he has enough of a personal relationship with Luke Fickell. He wants to spare him some love. I don't know.
I mean, they are Badgers, and they're only facing a duck. I mean, got to go the old Mike Leach philosophy. If we're doing mascot type of things, I'm taking the Badger. Am I taking a Gopher or a Hawkeye? I'm going to take a Hawkeye. Are you going to take a Husky or you have an Indian with the Fighting Illini.
Yeah. The Illini.
The Illini, they got that bow and arrow ready to go.
Yeah.
And then the Hoosier versus the Bruin. I don't know. I mean,
that's a good matchup.
That's a good matchup.
I don't know what I'm taking there.
But I mean, the guy's shucking corn here versus a Wildcat.
Yeah, I know. Give me the farmer. Give me the farmer.
The farmer does know how to fight.
Yeah, let me tell you. He's probably got a shotgun in there somewhere.
Well, anyway, guys, thank you all for listening. We'll be back for a preview next week, looking ahead for Nebraska's blackout versus USC. And then also Jim and I will do a kind of a recap as well. But yeah, once again, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll be back. I'm Bobby Schneider, and that's Sam Ojeda.